Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Worse Guy by Ruby Dixon, narrated by Jair Bush and Alexander Sendies. 1. B. Thank you for seeing me, sir. I give first-rank novice a cheery smile as I stare up and up and up at him. The Masaka guardsman looks very severe. His horns are capped with plain metal, his face is all disapproving blue angles, and his hair is slicked back and tied in a tight knot at the base of his skull. Even his uniform is plain. It's black with one insignia that I think is Lord Varen's personal symbol, but other than that, and the squiggles on his shoulder that denote his rank, he could be a janitor. The Masaka favor plain, functional clothing, and so does this guy. Doesn't matter. I give first-rank novice my sweetest look. His title's a little weird, but I suspect it's something like a space version of a sergeant. Judging by the stiff demeanor, I think I'm right. I do my best to look darling and helpless and human. But I was really hoping to speak to Lord Varen. Riffin said. The starchy-looking officer clasps his hands behind his back and frowns down at me, the horns on his head making him seem downright intimidating. It's been years, and I'm still not used to the sheer size of the blue Masaka. On Earth, I was short, at just an inch under 5 foot, but here, I'm positively squat. I'm a footstool, a cute, fluffy little human footstool that no one takes very seriously, including first-rank novice. He gazes down at me as if I'm a pesky fly bothering him. Lord Varen is very busy. Well, yes, I know. Goodness, aren't we all? I chuckle at my own joke. But I really do need to see him. It's about a job. I smooth my hands down my nicest tunic, which really isn't all that nice, and resist the urge to thread my fingers through my curls. Riffin said that he could get me in to see you, and that you could pass my message on to Lord Varen and his lovely wife. My boyfriend? Sure, we'll call him boyfriend. Riffin would probably be upset to know I keep reminding his senior officer that it was his idea for me to talk to his superior. Even now, Riffin stands just outside the office, and I can only imagine what he's thinking. Silly, soft bee, getting another idea in her head. But I know this is a good one, and that's why I'm here today instead of at the laundry center, washing a jillion sheets for people with loads more credits than me. So I keep smiling, because I know I'm right, and you can win a lot more people with a smile than a frown. I'm banking on the fact that Masaka find humans absolutely adorable, like puppies, except, some of them want to fuck us, so I guess not exactly like puppies after all. Doesn't matter. I'm banking on being cute. I'd flutter my lashes if I wasn't worried it'd come across as weird. Human female, we do not have the time for requests right now. He practically snarls at me. We have over 100 new arrivals that must be processed, along with some cases that require special handling. You should go and tend to your farm and be thankful Lord Varen cares for humans at all. Right. The downside of looking adorable and small is that no one takes you seriously. I don't have a farm, sir. Allergies. I put a finger on the tip of my nose and wiggle it. There's something in the soil here that makes me break out in hives, but I'm fine if I stay in town. I'm actually a laundress. If my mother knew that all of those years of college debt were going to end up with me doing alien laundry, she'd probably need to lay down. It's not like I chose it. I'm just rolling with the punches. I decide to roll right into my request, since dancing around it isn't going to get me anywhere. So let me tell you why I think Port needs a social worker for the humans and why I should be that person. Not today, first-rank novice says. He picks up a datapad off his desk, tucks it under his arm, and then heads out of his office as if we weren't right in the middle of a conversation. Rude. I follow after him, determined to get my say. I pass by my boyfriend, Riffin, who frowns at me as his supervisor sweeps past. He frowns even more when I trot after Novus and begin speaking. I realize you're a very busy man, alien, first-rank Novus. Riffin says that you've been tasked with handling a lot of the initial settling of the humans, and that's where I think you need me. He snorts, marching down the hall. His tail flicks once, and he looks over his shoulder at Riffin, who is following behind with a worried look on his face.
I have only told her the basics, sir. Nothing secret. I would never compromise the security of this place.
Riffin grabs my arm, but I jerk free and continue after them.
The human.
My name is B, I say, because I don't like being referred to as the human, especially by a guy that expects me to kiss him later. I worm out of his grip and trot after Novus. And I point out that you need a social worker because you need a liaison that understands humans and that humans won't be afraid to talk to. Did you know that 3 farms were attacked last month? Novus sighs and keeps on walking, ignoring me. I keep right on talking. And did you know that Regina over at Farm District 13 had her farm attacked by poachers? She got married fast so no one could steal her property, but it wasn't a choice she should have had to make. And Lexi, she's in Farm District 8, by the way, says she went to the doctor last week for cramps, and he refused to treat her because he thought she was making it up to get medication. Their steps speed up, and with a huff, I walk even faster to keep up.
B.
Riffin hisses at me, trying to get my attention. I ignore him and raise my voice a bit more. Lexi ended up having a tumor in her uterus that was causing excessive bleeding, and she almost died. How do you think Lord Varen would have liked that if you had a human die on your watch? The Masaka officer stops so suddenly that I crash into his backside. His tail swivels and smacks me across the shoulder. Sorry, I breathe, forgetting to be effervescent for a brief moment.
You think humans are in danger of dying?
Novus practically snarls at me.
And that you can save them?
Riffin puts his hands on my shoulders.
Come on, B.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all, I manage, detangling myself from Riffin's grasp. Seriously, when I need an interfering Masaka boyfriend to take point for me, I'll ask. I get that Riffin is trying to be helpful, but this isn't the time. I'm saying that humans are afraid to stand up to aliens because they're big and scary and we're small and fragile. When that gets his attention, I put on my happiest smile. They need a friend to talk to, a go-between that isn't afraid to speak up on their behalf.
A friend,
he says thoughtfully, and then really stares at me hard.
You think this solves all their problems if I hire you?
I can practically hear the sneer in his voice, but I choose to ignore it. It certainly can't hurt. Let me prove myself to you. That elicits a smile from Novus.
Fine. You want to prove yourself to me? You can be the advocate for one particular refugee I have in mind. If this works, I'll hire you as a full-on liaison.
I clasp my hands together with delight. That's perfect. Thank you so much. You won't regret this.
No, but you might,
Novus says, flicking his finger over his datapad.
The refugee is Krulden.
I don't recognize the name, but Riffin does. He stiffens and steps between me and his boss.
Sir, no. B is far too delicate to work with him. Lord Varen said that the other one,
his voice drops low,
showed great success and willingness to cooperate once there was a female involved. We can try this. Sir, she's my female.
Riffin sounds pissed.
I don't want her anywhere near him. It's out of the question.
Well, I'm pissed too. Riffin isn't my owner, and I hate that these two twits are talking over me as if I'm not even here. I want the job, I say stubbornly. I can work with anyone. The refugee is male, so he's probably a little unruly, but it's nothing I can't handle. A little sweetness and willingness to listen go a long way. I can have this guy eating out of my hand in a week. I'll work with this Krulden.
Sir,
Riffin says, leaning in. He gives his officer a meaningful look, and they eyeball each other.
It's dangerous.
We'll have her well protected, cadet, Novus promises my boyfriend. Don't worry. She'll fail at taming him, and she'll leave both of us alone about this job request. I can hear both of you, I exclaim. I'm not deaf, just short. Novus ignores me and gives Riffin a smug smile. She has a week. If she doesn't show improvement in that week, the entire thing is off. Then we all walk away winners. He nods at my Masaka boyfriend, barely glances at me, and then marches down the hall with his datapad. Have her at the security barracks first thing in the morning. No perfumes. Krulden has a sensitive nose. He pauses and looks back at Riffin. And no mating. I make a sound of protest that's ignored by everyone. We're just dating. I'm so mad at Riffin for interfering that I give him the silent treatment for the rest of the day, and when he tries to calm me that night, I ignore him again. Here I am, trying to be a bastion of cheerfulness, and they acted like I was as dumb as a stump. I'm determined to show them, though. They think I'm going to fail at helping this refugee, this Krulden, but they don't know just how determined humans can be. Riffin calls me repeatedly throughout the night, but I know he wants the kiss I promised in exchange for him getting me a meeting with his boss. Ugh, Riffin is sweet enough and handsome, but he's a terrible kisser and does nothing for me in the slightest. I've never been a particularly sexual creature, and the few rounds of sex I've had were uninspiring, to say the least. That hasn't changed now that I'm surrounded by aliens at all turns. I know some women find happiness with aliens, and there are some happy with their husbands. It's one reason why I've agreed to date Riffin. I don't want to be a laundress forever, and Riffin wants a human mate. We've had a few dates in port, and every time I try to break it off with him because I'm not feeling it, and I'm really, really not, Riffin insists I give him another chance. I know we're mutually using each other. I know he likes the street cred he gets from the other guardsmen that work at Lord Varen's estate. They don't like that the port custodians, militia soldiers of low rank sent to police port itself, have good relationships with the human females, and one's even mated. It's a pissing war to see who can get a human mate first, and Riffin is determined to win. I need to shut it down and tell Riffin he deserves better than a mate who gets grossed out by the thought of kissing him, and I was just about to, except I needed to talk to his commander. And I've promised a kiss, with tongue. I try not to shudder at the thought. Last time we did that, Riffin blasted his tongue in my mouth so hard I thought I'd choke. It was not fun, and I'm definitely not looking forward to this next round. But that's something to worry about some other time. I'm going to focus on my job with this Krulden guy, and I'm going to rock it. I don't know if he's alien or just a scarred and somewhat feral human, so I tried to prepare that night every way I can. I take a long shower using unscented soaps and pull out a tunic and leggings made of subtle colors in case brighter shades bother him. I braid my hair back and practice smiling without showing teeth. I dig through my box of human stuff, looking for the only reading material I have, a comic book in French, and write down lists of songs I can remember from Earth. Music is sometimes a good memory cue, and I want to go in with all the tools I can. I get a good night's sleep, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm rested, recharged, and ready to go. I dress quickly and head downstairs for breakfast. The boarding house at Port is fairly empty right now. It's me and one other woman, a new white woman named Melanie, with blonde hair and a bright smile. She arrived last week and is waiting for a farm to be prepared for her. Melanie beams at me from the kitchen table when I arrive, handing me a bowl. "Good morning! You look happy." "I'm starting a new job today," I tell her. "Social work. I'm helping with the test case, and then once I ace that, I'm going to see about helping all the new settlers here." "That sounds exciting." Melanie's eyes go wide. "What kind of test case?" "Don't know," I admit. "Some gentleman the garrison has in quarantine because he's not adjusting well." I pile my bowl full of the grain-like porridge mixed with fruit. It's the breakfast here every day, and while it's not exciting, it's food. I remember far too many nights in alien livestock pens where we had to fight over small portions, and I'm grateful for whatever we get here. I thump down next to Melanie and begin to eat quickly. Riffin should be here to pick me up soon. Melanie gives me a dreamy look, propping her chin up on one hand. "You've really got it all coming together, Bee. You're so lucky." Am I? Or am I just determined to hustle until it all makes sense? I'm not entirely sure, but I know I can't sit around and wait for the universe to do me any favors. It's already shown me that won't happen.
2. Asshole Cruelden. I watch the guardsmen skulk around the barracks, my eyes slitted. I pretend to be asleep because they let their guard down when they think I'm not looking, or when I'm resting. It tells me everything about the soldiers here, and so I pretend to sleep a lot. My arms are stun-cuffed to one of the bars at the front of the cage, and I know it's so they can shock me into submission whenever they want. Thanks to my last master, though, I've built up a good tolerance to stuns, and now I just pretend they affect me. And I watch. Something is different about today, I decide. There's a lot of the guardsmen around this morning. They're sweaty, nervous scents flooding my senses with the need to hunt. I could take that one, I decide, as one approaches the bars with my food. He's practically dripping with nervousness, and it makes me want to bare my teeth with hunger. He sets the tray down and slides it toward my cage, frowning to himself when it stops short a good distance from the bars. I bite back a malicious grin. The guard approaches, his tail twitching, and I remain very, very still. He watches me, hesitates, then shoves the tray full of meal bars again. Once more, it gets nowhere near my cage, and the male makes an unhappy sound. He rubs his head at the base of his horns, and then takes another step forward. "One more," I tell him silently. "Just one more step, and then the hunt begins." The guard hesitates, then leans forward and places his hand at the edge of the metal tray to give it another push. His tail flicks in agitation, and the moment it swings toward my cage, I act. I reach out and snatch it, jerking hard. The male loses his balance and stumbles toward my cage, and then I grab him. I sink my claws into his arm, and when he screams, I bury my fangs in his throat to stop his howling. Hot, warm blood rushes into my mouth. Better than a dozen of their dry protein bars, and I revel in the sensation. "Kill," my old master's voice says. "Make it messy. Give them a good show." I rake my claws down the male's chest as I tear at his throat. The sizzle of the cuffs, turned up to max, jolts up my arms. I can ignore it and keep attacking the male, but if I do, I discard all of the work I've done to convince them that the cuffs work on me. I'm not going to give up my plans for a snack, no matter how bloody, so I release him, howling my rage, and jerk at the cuffs. I make a good show of it, just like my master taught me, and lick at the blood on my muzzle. The male stumbles away, clutching at his neck, and I resist the urge to curl my lip in derision at his moaning. It's barely a keffing flesh wound. Pathetic. I suffered worse on a daily basis at the last stable. They send another jolt through the cuffs and I react appropriately, then lick the blood off my chops. I wasn't going to eat the fool. I just wanted to maul him a bit, watch them scurry, have a little entertainment. I keep my eyes closed and pretend to be unconscious, listening to the guards race around the room. "Again?" the one in charge states. "Who got too close to the asshole?" "Abic, sir," another male says. "They're taking him to the clinic right now." The one in charge groans in frustration, and I just imagine how annoyed his face is. "That's the third one this week. When are they going to learn? You don't approach the keffing cage. Why do you think he's in one?" "Sorry, sir. Abic is new. I'll have him reassigned to outpost duty." "You do that. He clearly can't be trusted with this." The male sighs heavily. "Today of all days." His booted feet echo on the floor. "Someone come and clean up this mess before Riffin brings his female in. We don't want her screaming at the sight of the blood." Screaming? Female? My senses prick with interest for the first time in days, weeks. I don't know how long I've been in this cage. Ever since they woke me up. I don't know who the new master is or why he's letting his guards fool around with watching over me. I don't know where they're keeping the rest of the fighters or what they plan to do with me. Probably fodder for a particular match. Wouldn't be surprised if it was a death match. They're not acting like they know what to do with me, which isn't a good sign for my longevity. So I have to be smarter than all of them. I remain still as someone brings in a cleaner bot. The thing whirs, squirting a harsh-smelling soap that makes my eyes water. My wrists ache from the angle that I've collapsed upon in the floor of my cage, but I don't move. To do so would put them on alert again. And I want to know what this female situation is. The floor is cleaned, but no one bothers to clean me, which is a shame. I'd love for them to put a hand on me so I can show them just how many limbs I can break in under a breath. There's blood on my muzzle and claws, but I don't suppose that matters. The female isn't for me. They never are. I pretend for a while longer, listening to the guards as they go about their duties. Somewhere in the distance, the buzzer that indicates a door is opening goes off, and then 2 new scents enter the building. One of them is familiar. A Misaka male who's been in here plenty of times before. The other is new and beguiling. It's a female that smells different than anything I've scented before. My senses prick with curiosity. That must be the female. It's a being, but the scent is softer and more delicate than the others. It's almost sweet. I wonder what she'd taste like underneath my fangs. Even her blood would be sweet, I imagine. I like the thought. I can hear voices talking as they approach, and hers is more musical and pleasing on the ear. The male with her stinks of an herbal soap that he prefers to hide his body odor, as do many of the guardsmen. To my surprise, the female has no such scent at all. It's a welcome change, because some of the guards make my eyes burn with how much they enjoy their stinky soaps. I can't wait to get a good look at her. In fact, the curiosity burns at me so much that I feign an awakening and get on my haunches the moment they step into the room. The female is soft. That's my first impression of her. Soft and vulnerable. She's smaller than I thought as she stands next to the stinking guard. The top of her head only comes to the middle of his chest. Her form is all rounded curves, fascinatingly round teats, a round backside, and soft-looking arms with small hands. She's not Misaka, I realize. They are varying shades of blue, and hers is a cross between a pale gold and light brown. Her dark mane is pulled into a tight weave against her head, and her eyes are big and dark as well. Unlike the Misaka, she has no horns, no protective plating, no nothing to give her defense of any kind. Is this a taunt? Are they trying to show me the most vulnerable creature in the universe as a joke?
Is that him?
The female asks, her wide-eyed gaze resting on me.
Cruelden.
Huh. My name is Cruelden? I thought it was asshole. That was all my last owner ever called me, and the males here do the same. That is your project assignment, yes, the male in charge says, moving toward her and the male she arrived with. The one in charge smirks, but the one at the female's side is not laughing. He looks very unhappy, and I wonder if she is his female. He does not like the thought of her being left with me. I don't blame him. I wouldn't leave a thing that soft with me either. Her mouth falls open, her expression one of confusion as she studies my confinement area.
Why is he in a cage?
The one in charge snorts. Because he is a dangerous creature. Just a short time ago, he attacked one of my guards that was attempting to feed him. The female's brows draw together. I wait for her to show shock or horror. Instead, she focuses her little frown on the male in charge.
He's not a creature, first-rank novice. He's a person. And if this is going to succeed, you're going to treat him like one.
That's unexpected. He's being treated like an animal because he acts like one. The male, first-rank novice says. He attacks anyone or anything that comes too close to his cage. He's violent and unruly. He destroys everything. Lord Varin wants him tamed without the use of medication since he cannot consent to it, but I'm not sure how it's possible. He's tasked my crew with it, but no one can get close enough to befriend him. He doesn't like males, and Lord Varin suggested a female. So now we have you. Novice gives her a thin smile.
I see,
the female says. The males look at her expectantly, but all she does is watch me. I meet her gaze. She stares at me, unflinching. Of course she is unflinching. She is across the room and I am caged and cuffed. It is easy to be brave with two males and metal bars between us. I give her a toothy snarl, letting her see the blood coating my muzzle. Her scent does not spike with fear, though.
What sort of alien is he? I don't recognize it.
He's a splice, Novice says flatly.
What's a splice?
She looks up at him all curiosity, and I admit I would like to hear the answer to this, too. I have never asked what I am. I just assumed that all creatures look different than me, but perhaps not. A splice is a genetically altered clone who has been crafted from multiple races, usually with the aggressive and dangerous traits enhanced. It's in an effort to create a superior gladiator that will win consistently for his owner. If not, the novelty of a splice at least provides good entertainment for those watching the matches. The female's small nose wrinkles.
Is that what he is? A novelty?
He is a killer. He is wrong. I am a champion, bred and trained to be a champion. I was created to succeed, to destroy if I must, but most of all, to win, to conquer. She studies me, her round face thoughtful.
So, what races is he?
The guardman loses interest. Why does it matter? He's a splice. That's all you need to know.
Yes, but if he is born with certain genetic traits, it'll help me understand him.
Born? He scoffs. I told you he was created.
Of course you told me,
she says politely, her tone incredibly sweet. There's an odd inflection to it, though, one that makes me pause and try to analyze.
How silly of me to forget.
Quite, Novice says. The female's smile grows broader but does not reach her eyes, and I bite back a laugh as I realize what her strange tone of voice is. She thinks they are idiots. She is humoring them, mocking them quietly by giving them the words and actions they wish to hear, even if it is not what she believes. I decide I like this female, even if she is working with them.
Do you think he is part Masaka?
She asks, her voice even sweeter than before.
I'm not familiar with a lot of alien races, but surely his coloring suggests that he has some of your blood?
First-rank Novice gives a hard, unamused laugh. Ha! Masaka! That thing! He looks over her head and smirks at the other Masaka guard standing nearby. She thinks Krulden is part Masaka! They all laugh, as if this is hilarious, and the female's pretty eyes flash with annoyance, quickly hidden. Her gaze turns back to me.
But he's so strong and fearsome. I thought surely he got that from your people. Where then?
She flutters her eyes, making herself seem helpless, and I bite back a laugh. She just insulted them and couched it in praise, and they're too stupid to realize it. I watch as the commander straightens, puffing up with pride. A common misconception with many of the smarter gladiators, but no. This one is a mixture of Praxian, that's the feline race, and Modin, and a few other genetic tamperings I can't quite put my finger on. I doubt he's got any Masaka blood in him at all. Good, I think to myself. I want nothing to do with this fool.
How interesting,
the female says sweetly.
And the spikes he's covered with? The claws and tusks?
Who knows? Novice seems to be losing interest. He gestures for his men to bring something forward. You'll be in this hallway while you work with him. See what you can do. Lord Varin is interested in his rehabilitation, but if we make no progress, we'll have to let him know. You have a week.
A week.
She echoes and watches as they pull a stool toward the windows that line the hall.
And I'm supposed to stay out here. What, do I shout at him?
You don't want to get in there with him, trust me.
Why not? He's cuffed and he's caged. I'm not sure what you expect him to do.
Neither one can hold him if he berserks.
Berserks?
She tilts her head, gazing up at the captain, and for the first time I realize how tiny she is, how unafraid. She is a small, soft thing amidst aliens that tower over her, and yet she shows no fear. Her scent has none. I find that very interesting, as well as the information they are giving her. Berserks? I'm not sure what they mean. Do they refer to my rages? I remain utterly still, in the hopes that they will continue to spill more of their secrets right in front of me, like the utter fools they are. The captain nods. Sometimes he loses control. You'll notice it when his eyes flood with red. If you see that, press the alarm, because at that point no cage will hold him. His strength multiplies, and the adrenaline in his system surges to the point that he becomes a danger to everyone, no matter cage or cuffs.
Then how do you calm him?
Novus laughs. Ha! Calm him! He shakes his head. We're doing good just to get out of the way. There's no calming him when he's like that. He's a monster. You call for help and we sedate him with everything we have. The female frowns at that.
I thought Lord Varin preferred non-chemical means of handling Krulden.
He also doesn't want his guards to die senselessly trying to help a creature that wants no help. The captain's face grows cold. You have a week, like I said. If he kills anyone or anything, including you, we're going to put him down. I'm afraid he's costing too much in resources as it is.
I see.
Her tone remains sweet, and she looks up at the captain adoringly.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'll do everything I can.
I don't know if I feel sorry for the captain or the female. She sits on the stool outside the window and just stares at me, watching. I close my eyes and pretend to sleep so I can listen to all their conversations as I normally do. If they won't let the female in the room with me, there's not much entertainment to be had.
3. B. This is definitely not going as planned. I keep a cheery, positive smile on my face as I sit on my stool and watch Krulden from afar. They've set me up to fail, and I'm not entirely sure how to proceed just yet. I'm still digesting, and as I do, I watch the dynamics of the group from my spot outside Krulden's quarters, a.k.a. his cage. The guards hate him. That much is blatantly obvious. They refuse to go into his quarters unless they're forced to. Krulden sits in his cage, cuffed and silent, and the guards mill about in the hall behind me. When it comes time to feed Krulden, they elect one of them to go inside. The guardsman then takes a few steps in, slides a plate of dry-looking squares towards his cage, and retreats out once more. I frown at this. I frown even more when I notice the dirty squalor of the floors. I can only imagine how bad it is near his cage. Krulden looks like a damn mess, his muzzle a darker shade than the rest of him. He remains in the same spot all day, his hands hooked to the front of the cage, and I can only imagine how uncomfortable it is. My ass hurts after sitting on this stool for a few hours, but Krulden never complains or says anything at all. When his eyes are open, he watches everyone. When they're closed, well, I get the impression he's still watching everyone, just a bit more furtively. He reaches for one of the food bars and has to shove his face into his cuffed hands to eat. Crumbs spray everywhere, and one of the guards makes a disgusted sound. "Filthy keffing animal. I don't know why we're even trying." This is what he considers trying? Good Lord. I watch as Krulden hastily shoves the bars into his mouth, and then even more crumbs litter his skin and the floor around him. No one goes to clean them up or even offers him a drink, and my throat feels dry just watching this. I lick my lips, glancing at the guards. When does he drink? The guards completely ignore me, nudging each other and sharing something on a data pad. I clear my throat, getting to my feet. Excuse me, gentlemen. I make my voice super sweet and girly. I'm so sorry to bother you, but can I ask a question? This time, my saccharine tone gets a response. One of the men turns to me with that dismissive smile on his face. "What can I help you with, female?" It took me a long time to get used to being called female by aliens. Here, it's a replacement for ma'am and isn't meant as insulting as it sounds. Still, it sets my teeth on edge. I continue to beam at the guard, gesturing at Cruelden's rather filthy rooms. When does he get a drink? His food looks very dry. I point at the unused sink and toilet attached to the wall. Wouldn't it make sense to let him free so he can handle his business? The guard shakes his head. "That would be a very bad idea. You've seen how he reacts to the slightest hint of freedom." He puts a hand on my shoulder, his expression affectionate. "But if it'll make you feel better, when he starts to look parched, we hose him and his cage down." "Oh, I see." It doesn't make me feel better, but I've also learned to pick my battles. I keep smiling as I sit down on the stool again to watch. My mind races despite my calm demeanor, and when they get out a hose and spray Cruelden down like he's a zoo animal, I bite my tongue. When they finally hose his empty bowl down to give him something to drink, I say nothing. And when they laugh about all of it and act like typical, thoughtless fools, I remain silent. It's not that they're evil. They're just young and don't view Cruelden as a person. To them, he's little more than a rabid dog they're being forced to watch until he messes up enough for them to get rid of him. It's clear that they're not going to give him a fair shake. Heck, if I was treated like this, I'd probably react with teeth first, too. When it grows late, I stifle my yawns, continuing to watch over Cruelden as the guards change shifts. I don't know what I'm hoping for him to talk to someone, to speak, to ask for his cuffs to be removed. He acts as he always does. He pretends to be asleep and watches everyone. "You're still here?" Riffin asks from over my shoulder, startling me. I jump, my hand going to my pounding heart. "Don't sneak up on me." He frowns, looking at our surroundings. I'm in the same spot in the busy hall, the guards clustered near the door and chatting. Cruelden's still in his cage behind a thick, heavy door. Riffin didn't exactly sneak up, but I wasn't paying attention. I've just been too caught up in trying to mentally solve the problem that is Cruelden. "You shouldn't be here late," Riffin says. "It's dangerous. Let me walk you back to the boarding house." I want to protest, but it's clear I need to rethink my strategy. I won't be able to help Cruelden or get the job I want, sitting on my butt in a hallway, ignored by everyone. So I should head home, sleep, and come to this fresh in the morning. I nod at Riffin and get to my feet. He puts a possessive hand on my shoulder, and I glance at the cell, because that's what it is, no matter what they call it. One last time. Cruelden's eyes are gleaming slits, and I know he's watching as I leave. It's a long walk to the boarding house, so I'm not entirely surprised when Riffin borrows one of the air sleds from the guardhouse and gives me a ride home. I want to protest, but the truth is that I do need that escorted ride back home. Lord Varen is doing his best to make Risda safe, but wherever there are humans, there are people willing to prey on them, and sometimes it's just not safe. I hate that Riffin's going to want something in exchange, though. He always does. So I let Riffin guide me up to the doors of the boarding house, but when he looks expectantly inside, I steadfastly ignore it. I stop on the porch and smile. "Thank you, Riffin. I appreciate your thoughtfulness." "How appreciative are you?" He reaches out and touches my cheek with his thumb. If I was attracted to him, I might find that sexy. As it is, it just sends a shudder up my spine. It's not that Riffin's a bad guy. It's just, I don't know. He's easily manipulated, which makes me think he's not that smart, and I like a smart man. Of course, it's that whole easy to manipulate that makes him the perfect boyfriend, so I suppose I can't complain too much. He's also a terrible kisser, and just his touch turns me off. His mouth tastes stale against mine, and I've started to dread the kisses he feels are his right as my boyfriend. I guess he's not wrong. If he's my boyfriend, I should want him to kiss me, right? I shouldn't be relieved when he's too busy to be around that day. I shouldn't be holding him at arm's length. So I tilt my face up, a silent invitation for a kiss. Riffin is immediately on me, his thick tongue shoving through my lips and jackhammering into my mouth. I try to go along with it to find some pleasure in his enthusiasm, but when he doesn't slow down, I go still and wait for it to be over, like usual. His breath tastes like old protein bars, and I try not to gag when he gets overly slobbery. He just needs to learn how to kiss, I remind myself. I just don't want to be the one to do it. Not for the first time. I think I should break up with Riffin. I know he's not interested in me. He wants a human as a mate because several of the Masaka men have claimed mates and settled down here. It's a status symbol to him, along with the promise of kinky alien, human, sex. He wants the other males he works with to be jealous of him and his status. He's eager to show them that he's special enough to get a human female, that he's part of some exclusive dick-swinging club the guardsmen are setting up amongst themselves. Too bad for him, I'm not interested in sex. That need was killed years ago when I was first captured. Now, I just tolerate his caresses and dole them out as special favors and hope he doesn't ask for more. At some point, it won't be enough. But for now, Riffin is happy. When I break the kiss, he beams at me, and I do my best not to wipe my lips.
"You still owe me from before," he says, ruining the moment. "When will you let me in so we can mate? Other males do not have to wait months for their female to accept them."
I lose every ounce of sympathy I had for the guy. Then maybe you should find yourself another female. I told you I don't want to be rushed, Riffin. You keep pushing me, and I don't like it. Riffin gives me a woeful look that almost makes me feel bad. Almost. Then I remember he just whined about not getting laid, and I don't feel so terrible about it.
"B, I just want my mate."
Not me, specifically. I can't help but notice. He just wants a mate so he can flaunt it in front of the others. I've caught him bragging, and not in pleasant ways, about me to the other males. I know he's using me, and I'm using him, too. I should break it off, but tonight I'm just too tired and my mind is on a million other things, so I smile sweetly and apologize. I know, Riffin, it's just hard for me. Give me a bit more time.
"I've given you a lot of time already. I just want to know when it's my time," he grumps, but sighs and opens the door to the boarding house, gesturing I should go in. So much for chivalry, I think, as the doors practically smack my ass on the way inside. I should pay attention to my friend Lucy, who insists that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. She's recently mated to an adoring hunk that works over at the port custodial offices and has offered to set me up with a friend if I ditch Riffin, but I haven't taken her up on it yet. Men are such work sometimes that the thought of having to train a new one is exhausting. Thinking about Lucy reminds me that there's more than one way to get on a man's good side, and it doesn't have to be with kisses. Since this world is strongly laced with misogyny, I've adopted a cheerful but somewhat idiotic nature so I get what I want without pushing too hard. No one sees me as a threat, and it serves me well. I head for the kitchens because I think I'm going to bring some baked goods to my new coworkers in the morning. The more they enjoy having me around, the better it is for me.
The next morning when I arrive back at the guard station, I do so with a massive batch of cookies. Well, I guess they're more like scones. Biscuits? I know that most of the blue aliens aren't a fan of sweets, so I ease off on the sugar and add nuts instead. The result is a chunky, textured, nut-filled, unsweetened cookie that tastes terrible to me, but everyone else snaps up with excitement. The men crowd around me with eagerness, and for a moment, I feel bad for them. They're all young, and I know they're like Riffin, taking these jobs because they pay well, are considered honorable posts, and so they can send funds back home. They're all younger than my 33 years, and right now, I feel like a PTA mom in charge of snacks. Even Riffin forgets to be mad at me when I arrive with the treats. He beams benevolently at his coworkers as they dig into the cookies.
"Play it right, and I'll have her make you treats every day," he tells them, like I'm a trained dog who's learned a new skill. I keep smiling, even though I want to stomp on Riffin's foot in irritation. I take out a specially wrapped package and hold it to my chest. I gesture at the window into the next room over, where Cruelden is being housed. So, who is going to give Cruelden his share? That silences them. The guards stop, watching me. "Cruelden?" one asks, crumbs flying from his mouth. "Why do you want to feed him?" I blink innocently. Why, he's my job, and he's not a prisoner, right? He's being reformed, not condemned, so why wouldn't I bring him a treat as well? I smile sweetly at them. After all, the goal is to integrate him into daily life here, yes? That includes the good things, too. The guardsmen look at me as if I'm insane. "You want to feed him?" One laughs. "Don't you like having hands?" Well, I thought we could do like you guys and slide his plate over. I flutter my lashes, and if that doesn't get me somewhere, I'm going to have to start twirling a lock of hair around a finger. What can it harm, right? It'll make me feel so much better about doing my job. They all look over at Riffin as if he's in control of the situation. My boyfriend is frowning. "I don't like this idea, Bee." "But I bet Cruelden is hungry," I point out, and move to the window. I peer in, and sure enough, Cruelden is on the floor in his cage, but his eyes are open, and he's watching me with intense eyes. "Hello, Cruelden," I call out in greeting. "I've brought you delicious treats. Are you hungry?" "He's not going to respond," Riffin says. I could eat." The voice is low and ominous, and his gaze remains locked on me. I shiver because it occurs to me that he's not talking about cookies at all. I suspect it's all bluster, though. Wouldn't I do the same if I was locked up with a bunch of people staring me down and acting like I'm a monster? It's like poker, and he's calling my bluff. Well, I've never known when to fold my cards, so I smile triumphantly and hand the package of cookies to Riffin. "Please give these to Cruelden." When he looks reluctant, I pat his arm encouragingly. "Small steps to victory, Riff darling. Small steps." "Right." Riffin doesn't sound so convinced, but a moment later, the reinforced door into Cruelden's quarters is unlocked, and Riffin steps inside. The awful stink of unwashed flesh and dirt hits me, but I do my best to ignore it, smiling cheerily as Riffin takes a few wary steps towards Cruelden's cage and then slides the small, cloth-wrapped package toward him. The moment it gets close, Cruelden shoves the entire thing in his mouth, cloth and all. Oh dear. Okay then, I decide, as Riffin races back out of the room and slams the door shut behind him. Cruelden chews, bits of fabric visible between his tusks. Tomorrow, unwrapped cookies. It's the third day of cookies when I notice the men are getting careless. I make a comment about how Earth people like to have their cookies with milk, and practically all of the guards head out for the mess hall in search of milk to have with their treats.
I'm left alone with one junior guard outside of Croulden's cell. It's Riffin's day off, or he'd probably be here with me, but instead, I've just got a stranger shoving cookies into his mouth and Croulden, double-locked behind his doors, and no one to give him his treat. He's eaten the cookies every time I've brought them, and I know he's aware of when I arrive. This could be my chance to talk with him quietly while the others aren't paying attention. It's hard to have a conversation with someone when you can't even enter the room, after all. So I put Croulden's share of cookies into his metal bowl and hug it to my chest. I gesture at the locked door. Go ahead and open that so I can give him his food. The junior guard gives me a look of terror. You're going in there? I did yesterday. I lie. And it was just fine. Now, come on, open up. I give him an impatient look and put a hand on the door handle, bluffing my way in. This could either be the breakthrough that I need or a really, really bad call. I'm running out of time, though, and if I can't make progress with Croulden, I'm going to be doing garrison laundry for the rest of my life. Besides, I'm reasonably sure Croulden won't attack me. Reasonably. The guard hesitates for a moment longer and then makes a low sound of protest in his throat even as he types the code in to open the door. I watch him type, trying to memorize the keys. The alphabet they use is nothing like an English one, and all the squiggles look the same, so I try to remember the pattern of his fingers on the panel instead. The door opens with a quiet buzz, and then I step inside. The stench hits me like a slap, and I breathe through my nose as I take a few steps inside. Hello, Croulden, I say softly. I've brought your food, and I've come to make you a deal. I jerk backward when he hops onto his feet, pressing up against the bars as he glowers in my direction. He's terrifying to look at, all animalistic and looming. He's enormous, and the spikes that cover his arms and back look deadly, as do the wet tusks that jut from his mouth and frame his ugly face. His nostrils flare and his eyes narrow as he watches me. I've brought you food. I set the bowl down at my feet and crouch on the floor. But that's going to end soon, because if I'm going to keep this job, I need to show progress. That's where I need your help. His eyes look fierce and alarming as he watches me. His pupils dart, and I realize for the first time that his gaze is so unnerving because his eyes are like a cat's. He doesn't even look at the bowl, just watches me. My job is to help you become a part of society here on Risda 3, I say, deciding to throw my cards on the table. I have a week to show progress with you, and that week is almost up. If I don't show progress, I'll be sent back to the laundry, and no one will bring special foods anymore. But if you tell me what you like, I can bring it for you. If you prefer fruits to nuts, I can bake something with that. If you prefer meats, I can figure something out. I would like for us to work together, because we're both kind of screwed unless this works out. I take a step to the side, and his unnerving gaze remains locked on me. Screwed, he murmurs. Of course he'd focus on that word. I smile, my expression sweet. Yes, I'll be doing laundry forever, and if you don't seem to be making strides, they're going to put you back into stasis or keep you drugged permanently. If you kill someone, they're going to get rid of you. Understand? When he doesn't answer, I go on. You have to pretend like we're following the rules, even if you don't like them. I figure if I can get him to pretend to be obedient, I can eventually work him around to actually obeying the laws. Baby steps, I tell myself. Pretend, he states. Like a game, I agree, whispering. His mouth curls into a terrifying-looking grin. You're good at pretending. I keep smiling. Beg your pardon? Croulden's smile grows wider and far more menacing.
Your male still hasn't figured out you're not attracted to him.
Uh-oh, someone's been watching me far closer than I'd like. I continue to wear my smile, even as I straighten and brush at the skirts of my long, belted tunic. You're wrong. Of course I am. He laughs, the sound raspy and unpleasant.
Are not. When you're around him, your cunt's drier than my ration bars. I can smell it.
I blink, horrified. He can smell me? That part of me? I freeze in place, wondering if I should race out of the cell. I don't like that the first thing Cruelden's mentioned is sex, but he's talking, at least. Our relationship isn't sexual, if you must know. Riffin knows I'm not interested. Cruelden's eyes narrow, and I still get the impression that he's amused as I kick the bowl toward him.
He thinks he can make you interested.
You can't force someone to be interested. Why am I even talking about this with him? He snorts.
Obviously.
The plate skids a few inches away from the slot in his cage. Close enough. I'm not getting any nearer. Just think on what I said about us working together.
I could make you come.
My throat closes up and I recoil in surprise. This creature? No, it's a man, I remind myself. A man that's been bred to be a killing machine. He's watching me with those deadly eyes, and for the first time in my life, I don't have a chirpy answer. I don't know what to say. I swallow hard, then nod at the cookies. Eat your food. Think about what I said.
I don't want to play along.
His voice is low, dangerous.
I don't want them to think they've won.
I pause. No one's winning anything, but I decide to couch things in terms he'll understand. Look, we both know what happens if you break out again, if you hurt someone. They will not hesitate to put you down like an animal, and if they do, we both lose. Understand? You can't play the game if you're dead. He extends one nasty claw toward his bowl and hooks it on the edge, then drags it slowly toward him, the metal scraping over the floor like my nerves are being scraped.
What do you get out of this?
I get to keep my job. You get to keep your life. I think those are good incentives, don't you?
I'm a gladiator.
He growl purrs, his voice silky and alarming all at once.
I get a prize when I win. What do I win if I play along?
Very well. What kind of incentive do you want? More food? Better quarters? If his freedom is too nebulous, maybe I need to offer something concrete. Do you like plants? He retreats into the shadows of his cage, as far as the cuffs will let him, and his face is hidden from me.
I will think about what I want.
You do that, I say brightly, and turn and leave the room. The guard locks the door behind me with shaking hands, and I thump down onto my stool, surprised that I'm not shaking as hard as my companion is. I've told Cruelden what I need from him. Now I have to wait and see if he decides to play along.
4. Asshole Cruelden. I think about the female after she's gone for the night. When the majority of the guards clustered in the hall, shivering in their boots, go home and I'm left with only a few overnight. It's the best time to break out, and just like every day that I'm here, I consider ripping my cage apart and tearing off heads until I leave the building, to run and see how far I get before someone retrieves me. Instead of mulling this for hours, I consider it only briefly before my thoughts turn back to the female again. She brings food treats, and while she always remembers to save some for me, I know they're for the guards. She's a sly one, the female. For all that her face is round and innocent, her voice sweet and slightly foolish, she's playing them all. I have to admit, it amuses me. I think about what she said, about how we need to fool them all so they think I'm tamed. I hate the thought of it, but I am growing weary of this cage and these cuffs. When they bring out the hose and spray me down, I bite back a snarl of anger and decide I'm tired of that too. I'm tired of shitting in a corner. I'm tired of crouching next to these cuffs all day long. I'm tired of a great many things. This is not how a champion should go out. Sitting in a cage covered in my own filth, cuffed? I should be in a glorious battle in an arena. I should be fighting to the death in front of thousands who call my name. Not this. This is not worthy. And so I consider what the female said.
They will not hesitate to put you down like an animal. You cannot play the game if you are dead.
It occurs to me that I can trick them as she tricks them to get what I want. I can pretend to be tamed. I can pretend that they have cowed me and defanged me. And when I am free, I can find new arenas, new competitors. Instead of the baked treats the female makes, I will give them my grudging obedience. And they will lap it up like grateful dogs, never imagining that I have a plan in mind. The female returns in the morning. I smell her, and her baked treats before she appears. Her scent is clean and fresh, with a light musky scent to it that must be her natural human smell. It is a good one. I only know of humans as prizes offered in the ring, but I do not have a memory of ever being offered one myself. Surely a champion deserves the best prize. I decide she will be my prize. When I get out of here, I will snatch this good-smelling female and claim her as my prize for putting up with these fools. I smile to myself at the thought. Her male scent is on her skin as if he has touched her, yet again there is no arousal perfume, no sweetness of her cunt hanging on the air. He touches her and she feels nothing. This makes me grin. When I'm done with her, I will make her cunt drip with honey. She is a challenge, and it is in my nature to rise to any and all challenges. It is who I am. I am a champion, and so I must win this too. I will win it, and rub the scent of her juicy cunt in her lover's face. I like this thought very, very much.
You're in a good mood,
The female calls cheerily through the windows of my cell.
Don't think I didn't see that smile. Do you want your cookies today? I made them with the Risda nuts you guys have here, but if there's a taste you prefer, I'm happy to oblige. Just tell me what you like.
She practically shouts this at the window, as if I am somehow hard of hearing. I can hear every word she says from 3 hallways away. I heard her male tell her that he wanted kisses, and I heard her turn him down. I heard them argue about it, and I heard the male whine like a petulant child. I cannot wait to bring it up again, but I will need to be sly. I do not need the female to shut down. I need her to play these games with me. So I tap the floor indicating I'm ready for my bowl and say, I like the ones with the round nuts. She gasps, and the guards at her side panic as if I have suddenly pulled out a knife. He's talking, one cries. Get Lord Varin!
Lord Varin is busy, fool. Get first-rank novice.
The guards race around like idiots. The female sits on her little stool and beams at me from the other side of the window, as if we are sharing a secret. I want to smile back, but I know my jagged teeth and enormous tusks will not inspire confidence. So I tap the floor again, waiting for the food, which is, admittedly, much better than the food the guards give me. Her mouth forms a little circle, and then she taps on the guard nearest to her.
Can't someone give him his food?
They ignore her, talking amongst themselves and preparing their weapons, and a flash of annoyance crosses her face, quickly gone as she resumes her happy smile. The smile grows broader when the commander, first-rank novice as they call him, enters the hall and listens to the babbled reports of his men. She sits on her stool and preens as if she has just won a race. I want to laugh at the foolishness of it all. The male arrives, all stiff shoulders and equally stiff tail, and glares at me through the glass. He does not like me. I know he thinks this particular posting is beneath him. He said as much in private, not realizing I can hear every word he says through the walls and the duct systems thanks to my enhanced hearing. He is waiting for me to keff up, to slaughter someone so he can point to his lord that I was a mistake from the beginning. Before, I did not care, but before, the female had not arrived with her suggestions to treat this like a game, and that speaks to me, because I like to win. This is the way I can win, by tricking them all. First-rank novice gives me a long, searching look. Decided to play along, have we? I bite back the urge to snarl, my tail thrashing in the filth at the bottom of my cage.
Oh my,
the female says brightly.
Look at how angry he gets when you're around. My goodness, he must view you as the biggest threat in the compound.
She turns toward first-rank novice and touches his arm gently.
And here he was making such progress. I wonder, perhaps he feels threatened by your strength. It might be better if you keep your distance.
It amazes me how quickly she manipulates everyone with a few words of flattery. Novice blusters and regards me, but in the end he clears his throat and agrees that I seem to react better to the female. They will give her more time to work with me, and as long as I do not show signs of threatening her, they'll let things progress. I plan on letting them progress, all right. The female isn't let into my cell again for another week. She's clever, always careful to flatter the guards into getting what she wants as she bribes them with treats and sweet words. She's patient, too. When she asks for something that isn't granted right away, I can tell that she doesn't forget it. Her mouth hardens ever so slightly before she curves her lips into another one of those achingly pretty smiles, and then goes right on about her day. I find myself watching her probably more than I should, and I'm not the only one. All of the guardsmen that are supposed to be keeping a close eye on me are fascinated with her. She is small and soft, with large teats and big, dark eyes, and an enticing scent. The guards comment on how lucky Riffin is, and when Riffin is not around, they speak on when they will mate, and she'll come in stinking of his attentions. They don't understand how he's being so patient with a prize like her. I don't understand it either. My cock stiffens and aches when I pick up her scent. I hide it because the last thing I need is for the guards to notice that I like the scent of the female, and to use that against me. But I am imprisoned and in a cage. For this Riffin to have his hands free to place on the female, and he never touches her except to put his mouth on hers and take in her breath, he's a bigger fool than I imagined. After another week of sitting on her stool outside my chamber, the female finally grows tired of waiting. She arrives that day with a determined gleam in her eye, the stink of her male on her face and hands, but there is no arousal scent to accompany her otherwise. Interesting. She sets down her basket of foods and then clasps her hands, beaming at the guards who have been waiting for her arrival.
I think it's time we push boundaries a little, don't you?
The guards look uncertain, glancing at her useless mate. He is sulky today, frowning at the female and in the direction of my chamber. As if she does not care about her male's displeasure, she gestures at the door to the hall, the one that keeps me on the other side of the walls.
We're going to clean his chamber up today. It smells, and if it's uncomfortable for me and my poor human nose, I can only imagine how wretched it must be for you gentlemen.
She beams at them.
So this will be a wonderful test.
A test? One says.
Yes. I'm going to go in and clean up and talk to Krulden as I do. He seems to respond well to females, so I'm going to do what I can to make him comfortable, and the more he gets used to my presence, the easier he'll be.
Her male looks sulky. I do not like this bee. My ears prick at that. Is that her name? That short, strange sound? Oddly enough, I like it. It suits her. I memorize it, because I want to repeat it to myself later, just to taste it on my tongue.
You heard what first-rank novice said.
The female replies, her voice crisp as she puts a large portion of her baked treats into my bowl. I've noticed that the portion she gives me grows larger over time. Does she know how much I loathe the dry protein bars they give me? Or is this simply a hunch of hers?
He responds well to female energy. How else are we going to know if we're making progress unless we test things?
She smiles sweetly at him and picks up the bowl.
Now open the door so I can go inside.
I watch the male, curious to see how he reacts to her demand. He frowns down at her, this Riffin, and then relents a little. Kiss me first. Her mouth firms for a brief moment, in that way it does when she's displeased, but she tilts her face up at him. He clutches at her shoulders and slants his mouth over hers, dragging his lips over her mouth and stealing her breath. Curious, I watch him do this, because it is evident to me that she despises this touch. Why be mated, then? She remains still, waiting patiently, and when he withdraws, I see a gleam of saliva. Did he Use his tongue on her? Is that why she hates it? She gives Riffin a faint smile when he pulls away, and as the other guards make teasing sounds, she turns toward the door and discreetly wipes his taste off her lips. The male is patted on the back by a few others, and then someone types in the code to let her into my room. Immediately, they are on alert, watching to see if I pounce. Pouncing is far less interesting than having the female visit. They need not worry. The female, B, sweeps inside with confidence. There is no fear scent on her, which I find fascinating. Even when the guards make their way in to kick my food bowl over to me, they wear a hint of fear. She marches inside and takes a look around as if seeing my room for the first time. Her nose wrinkles, and I am certain she smells the urine and feces that never get entirely washed away with the hose. It is something I tell myself I am not ashamed of. I cannot go anywhere because I am cuffed, not even to the lavatory equipment attached to the wall a short distance away from my cage. But I do not like seeing her disapproval of the smell and filth in my quarters. They treat me like an animal, not like the champion I am. B turns to look at me, the bowl propped up on her ample hip. She studies my hunched form, my filthy mane and skin, the cage I crouch in day after day.
If I bring this food to you, are you going to attack me?
No, B, her male calls out. You're already risking too much. I notice he does not enter my chamber. His fear stink fills the hall, though. He is worried for his female. He should be. I intend on winning her away from him, just because I know I can. B, the female, waits and watches me. I wait too.
Will you not talk to me today?
She asks in a low whisper, her voice pitched so the others cannot hear. I grunt. I am hungry. Are you satisfied? A tiny smile just for me plays at her strange, small human mouth. She looks around and then back at me.
This is a big cleaning job,
she admits.
I can do it if having more people around is going to bother you. But I'd like to get things really cleaned up so you have a decent place to live. This isn't fair to you, and I'd like to help. Will you let me bring in some cleaning bots, or will the noise bother you?
I jerk on the cuffs. Can I have these off?
I can't promise that yet. You still have quite the reputation for attacking everything in sight. But if we clean this room up with no incident, and you let me come in here without attacking...
Her smile brightens.
Then I can make a case for it.
Sometimes I suspect she is manipulating me as much as she is the guards. But since I have nothing else to do, I find I do not care. I am far too amused by watching her machinations. She continues to hold the bowl with my cookies in it, as if she is deciding whether or not she wants to risk moving close enough to me to set it down, or if she will kick it over like the others do. I watch as she studies me, then straightens her shoulders and marches over to my cage.
As a reminder,
she says softly,
if you hurt me, you go back to square one. Or worse.
I have no interest in harming you. I let the words purr out of me, making my tone as low and gentle as hers. In fact, I know what I want as my prize, my incentive to play your game. B straightens, her hands smoothing down her pale pink tunic that somehow makes her skin look like a warmer shade of brown than usual.
What's that?
I don't give her my answer yet. I want her to wonder about it for a while. Two can play manipulation games, after all. The next day, the cleaner bots begin to make regular appearances into my cell. They make sharp, irritating noises, whirring as they spray soapy water onto the floors and get to work. My room is so dirty that they work for hours on end, and the sound grates on my nerves, but I know this is another unspoken test to see how far I have come. The female is pleased with my progress, I suspect, and once the floors are clean, she moves her stool out of the hall and into my room near the door. When do I get the cuffs removed? I ask, because my back aches with the constant hunching.
When can I trust you?
She lobs back.
Maybe you tell me more about yourself. Maybe we become friends, and then I can get the cuffs off you.
This female. I bite back a snarl of irritation when one of the cleaner bots whirls past, spraying soapy water on the tip of my tail as it cleans the edges of the cage. What do you wish to know? She tilts her head regarding me.
Well, for starters, I suppose we could introduce ourselves. My name is B. It's short for Beatrice, but that's too stuffy, so I just go by B.
I watch her. Her tone is casual and intimate, as if it is just us alone having a conversation. Yet when I glance over her head, there are half a dozen guardsmen lurking nearby watching us, waiting for me to threaten her so they can end me. It makes me not want to say anything, but I know she's desperate to prove that she can make progress with me, that she can befriend me, and somehow prove herself to these males that all talk down to her. You know my name, I say slowly.
Yes, but I was wondering if there was something you preferred to go by.
The guards call me asshole. B's mouth flattens angrily.
Do they now? Well, I'm not going to call you that. So you tell me what you like to be called.
I shrug. Cruelden works the same as anything else.
Very well, Cruelden. I'm glad we're becoming friends.
Her voice drops to a low whisper, and I feel as if she's speaking to me and me alone. It makes my cock react.
They told you that you're not the first Cruelden?
I'm a clone, I agree. I've picked up that much from the conversations in the halls. That I've been bred to fight in the arenas and win for my master. My lip curls, except the master I've been given to keeps me cuffed in a cage.
He's not your master.
Isn't he? B goes silent, and I know she has no good answer. This male who claims to have freed me keeps me locked up tight.
Well, the reason I bring it up is that since you're a clone of the original Cruelden, if you want to change your name, you just let me know. I'll respect your wishes.
She shoots a scowl behind her through the window.
And I will never call you asshole.
I bite back a grin, because I suspect someone's not getting to steal her breath tonight.
5. B. Even though I know we're making progress, it's still startling to me to arrive one day to find that half of the guards have been reassigned and Cruelden's cuffs are gone. I set down the enormous tray of waffles. I've found a piece of metal that creates a waffle-like stamp, and it's a great favorite with the guards, even without syrup, and smile at the 2 guards at their posts. Changes today, I see. Riffin didn't tell me. Zathar nods, helping himself to a waffle. Lord Varin came by last night to check on things. Fair had a meltdown over how first-rank Novus was handling the situation. My eyes widen as I pick up Cruelden's bowl and wipe it clean with the apron I've taken to wearing, since I tend to do a lot of spot cleaning in his room now. Novus got in trouble? The guardsman nods. Said he told Novus weeks ago that Cruelden was to be shown that we're friendly, not that he was a prisoner. We were all quizzed on how things were proceeding, and Lord Varin was pleased with your efforts, not so much with everything else. Several of the men were reassigned, and Novus is going to let you take the lead on things, per Lord's orders. He shoves an entire waffle into his mouth, and no more cuffs. I see. My heart trips at the thought of the cuffs being gone. I'm not scared, but I wonder how Cruelden is going to take the change. Will he be pleased? Or will he decide that now he's been given an inch, it's time to take a mile? I suppose I'll find out soon enough. I stack several of the waffles into the bowl, filling it to the brim since now there's extras. And Riffin? Reassigned to house duty. Lord Varin says he doesn't want you to have distractions. I should be sad that my boyfriend won't be nearby, but I'm honestly thrilled. He's become more and more possessive and demanding lately. It's almost like he's threatened by Cruelden, which is ridiculous. I can't wait to have a few days to just sit and talk with Cruelden without Riffin's obsessive hovering. Cruelden won't say much if he thinks others are listening in, and I want him to open up to me. I want to hear what makes him tick. So these new developments, I'm thrilled. I enter Cruelden's room with the bowl, and instead of putting it on the floor at the base of his cage, I walk over to him and hold it out. It's a trust exercise, but either Cruelden can be trusted at this point, or it's all going to backfire massively. Either way, he deserves to be treated like a human being, or an alien, Whatever, like a real person. He gazes at my extended hand for so long that my nerves twinge, and I worry I'm making a mistake. Then he reaches out for the bowl. His wrist is red and irritated, the skin torn and scabbed. My thanks. A thank you? God, I'm making leaps and bounds today. I glance around. I should have brought you a cup. I'm sorry. I'll bring one next time. He grunts and retreats to the back of his cage, giving me space. It's like he's determined to show that I'm in no danger, and it just pleases me even more. He eats, and I sit on my stool quietly, observing him. His motions are a little jerky, and I can only imagine how tight his muscles were after being kept in the same posture for weeks on end. I think about those torn wrists and decide that not only am I bringing a cup tomorrow, but I'm bringing some ointment for his wrists. Did you talk to Lord Varenne? Croulden doesn't answer, so I assume that's a no. He's quite a nice man, though I've only talked with him briefly myself. The rescue operations he's running keep him very busy. Did you know his wife is human? He gets to his feet, holding the bowl out. Water. I'm not sure if it's a request or a demand, but I decide to think of it as a request. I get up and take the bowl from him and return it once I've filled it with fresh water from the tap. He tips it back and drinks from it, and I can't help but notice that quite a bit cascades down his chin, as if his lips won't close entirely around those tusks that jut out. I wonder if they bother him. It seems rude to ask. After he drinks his fill, he holds the bowl out again. I refill it for him, and he drinks 3 of them before he's satisfied, which makes me unhappy. I didn't realize you were so thirsty. The moment the words cross my lips, I feel like an idiot. Of course he wouldn't let on that he's thirsty. He's not going to ask for anything or show any signs of weakness. In the future, I'll make sure you're brought more. He shrugs, glancing over my shoulder at the guards at the window, then moves to the back of the cage again. In the future, I'd like to be able to get my own. His strange, tusk-filled mouth stretches into what must be a smile. Since I'm not a prisoner. You're not, but you have a reputation. You mean the male I was cloned from has a reputation? Well, shit, he has a point. You can't deny that you've been violent. I don't deny it. That feral smile he gives me would be terrifying if I didn't already know he won't hurt me. He wants out of his cage, so he's going to pretend to be tamed. I haven't really thought ahead of what happens once he no longer needs to pretend, but I'm focusing on one problem at a time. Then you understand why you're being kept under surveillance. I choose my words carefully. You have to prove you're trustworthy, that you're more than just that Croulden and his past. He leans back against the bars of his cage and regards me, rubbing his wrists the entire time. Good gravy, his hands are huge. I mean, all of him is huge, but now that his hands are free, I can't help but stare at their size. He could probably palm my entire skull. I will always be Croulden to these people, you know. You're wasting your time. You don't know that. He rubs his wrists as if the answer is obvious. I refuse to take that as the answer, though. I shake my head. Lord Varenne is very fair. You'll see. But you don't know him, Croulden points out. You said so yourself. I know he's a lot fairer than a lot of the other people on this end of the universe, I retort, crossing my legs on the stool to get comfortable. Even though I'm very short and round, I can cross my legs comfortably, and I dangle one foot, flicking it back and forth as I think. It's not necessarily Lord Varenne's words, but his actions. Everyone knows the story of him and his wife. He was given a human, and instead of just using her as a pleasure slave, he married her, and gave her his name and the rights of his family line. More than that, he's opened up this planet to human refugees so they can have somewhere to go where they're treated like people. Crooldon's eyes narrow as he regards me.
A pleasure slave. Is that what you were?
I flick my foot in agitation, glancing over at the guards. They're chatting to themselves as they eat waffles and aren't paying attention. Good. Normally, I'd complain about the terrible job they're doing as guards, but this suits my purposes. I don't wish to talk about it.
The only memories I have of your kind are pleasure slaves,
he offers. I don't know what to do with that information. I want to scream because, of course, he sees us as living blow-up dolls. They're not his memories. They were either implanted or leftovers from the cloning process, but it's not his fault that he views us as objects, just like everyone else. Maybe I just keep it clinical, facts only. My people are not spacefaring. We've only recently started to explore our universe, and we haven't met alien life forms. I give him a tight smile. The people on this end of the universe view mine as inferior and enslave us, even though it's against the law.
The laws don't stop many, Crooldon muses, especially not those with deep pockets.
Boy, he's not wrong about that. He rubs his wrist again and tilts his head, regarding me.
Humans seem very...
What?
Vulnerable.
Crooldon holds a hand up, showing off dangerous, dark claws that tip each finger.
You have no defense mechanisms. Your teeth are small and square. Your hands have no claws.
His big hand slides up to one of the spikes that march along the backs of his arms and legs, and his back as well.
You have nothing to protect you. Why shouldn't you be enslaved?
I keep my smile cheery, even though I want to take that bowl of water sitting just outside his cell and dump it over his head. Is he trying to rile me? To get me to show temper? I refuse to rise to the occasion. Because enslaving people is disgusting and immoral. You cannot own another sentient being. He snorts, and the sound is amused.
No wonder these people think humans are stupid.
Are you trying to make me angry, Crooldon?
Yes, he says bluntly.
Why?
We are arguing. I want to win.
He gives me another toothy grin.
It's what I'm best at.
Arguing?
Winning.
Interesting. So your implanted memories are focused in regard to victory?
I suppose they are.
Do you view all of this as a game, then? I gesture at our surroundings. A competition? His expression tells me the answer. He does. That could be problematic. And what will you do if you find there's nothing or no one to fight? What will you do if there's no challenge to be had?
There's always a challenge.
His eyes turn to slits, but his expression remains amused, like he's enjoying our conversation. I have to admit, I'm kind of enjoying it too. He's not talking down to me. He's not acting like I'm a precious...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.